Okay, well, welcome to TranPak. My name's Christian Ueland, and I'm here with Rich Kilmer with CargoSense, and we're going to talk about his QR sensors and our plastic pallets and how they work well together. So, thanks for coming, Rich.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Right on.
Yeah. So, when did we meet? We met a couple years back.
Tulare Farm Show?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a World Ag Expo.
Yep.
The world's largest agricultural show in the middle of California.
Yes.
Which is one of the largest agricultural areas in the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Marty met you guys and was very interested in, first of all, your presence, because he's always aware of new people who are showing up to everything. Even as big as the World Ag Expo, he knows everybody who's there. So he was tuned into what you guys were doing with the IoT devices, the GPS.
Yeah, the tracking devices inside of pallets.
Right.
Yeah. And
so I think it was a couple days before he actually got me to show up to your booth.
Right. No, and it was neat because what we were looking at there was, not everyone can afford the tracking devices in those pallets, but these pallets can be pretty expensive.
Right.
And so
upwards of $100.
Right. And we work a lot with pharmaceuticals that need to know precise information about that. And but when we came to the ag show, they needed obviously lower price things. But one of the things that we had done is put the proprietary technology we developed, which is these QR sensors on that same pallet. And that actually kind of was intriguing. That was a couple years back. But I think it was late last year, we came back here to your office just to, see what you guys were up to and what we were up to and how we'd advance this technology. And I don't think it was clear how we might be able to work with each other at the time.
Right, and I think the QR sensor was kind of the catalyst to lights going off, because prior to that, it was this GPS unit that we had to figure out how to fixture to the pallet, inside the pallet, somehow holding it inside the device, and that also had a battery lifespan.
Exactly.
So the QR sensor just getting put on the pallet, it wasn't necessarily being able to track a pallet anywhere and everywhere in real time. It was just being able to track a pallet.
Right.
In some form or other. So if we could put the QR sensor on, you have almost a no cost up front. I mean, very minimal cost to get the QR sensor on. Immediately deployable. We can get it on the pallet. We can put it anywhere we want. And now we have a way of scanning that with anybody's phone and getting data sent back to whoever needs it.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to what a QR sensor, the idea of it or what it means even. Everyone's familiar with the QR code, especially during the pandemic. We all started using them to get menus and to order food because nobody wanted to be around us. They still kind of don't, but still, but the QR codes became really popular ways of not having to touch things. So we'd use our phone to scan the QR code and it opens in the web browser on our phone. So it's super simple. Everyone's phone can do it now. Everyone who has a smartphone, which is pretty much everyone.
Almost everybody.
Almost everyone. But a lot of people, especially in supply chain, do, right? People are working in and around pallets and things like that. They'll have smartphones because they're sending emails and doing that kind of thing. But this QR code, what we came up with this idea about 5-6 years ago now of what does that QR code take you to? And in a menu, it might take you to the menu for a restaurant. With a QR sensor, it connects you to a sensor in the cloud, kind of a cloud-connected sensor. That's why we call it a QR sensor. But it is just a QR code. And it was really this that I think that connected what we were doing with measurement, with what you were saying, these are the kinds of things people need to do with measurement around plastic pallets.
Right. So the reusability aspect of plastic pallets is really the draw. Is why plastic pallets are in the marketplace. Can we spend $60 on a plastic pallet and use it enough times to make it cheaper on a per use basis than our $16 wood pallet? So there's a lot of companies that have adopted plastic pallets and just taken the risk, and over time understood that there's a return on investment, that there's a savings. There's a lot more companies out there that don't understand what kind of return on investment they can get with a plastic pallet, and they don't have a system to measure that.
Right.
And
Well, it's hard to measure because most plastic pallets don't even have an ID on them. They
Well,
have
no.
nothing to it's
right,
just a,
and pallets are objects that come and go.
right.
And how many, and some are latent, some stay in the back of a warehouse, some move around all the time. So it's really difficult for companies to justify, to first decide to buy what used to be an expense, and what we're trying to teach our customers is it's not an expense, it's an asset.
Right.
Okay, so we're turning the wood pallet is an expense, the plastic pallet turns into an asset. Now, how many times can I use that? And what my return on investment is, ROI, what
Right.
my ROI is.
But traditionally they do that as a pool because there's no individual identifiers.
Right.
You know, back to this thing that how do you count how many times a particular pallet is used?
Yeah, no, exactly. So really the way they measure it without a QR sensor is, okay, we spent this much money on plastic pallets last year, and we used to spend this much money on wood pallets, and how much money are we gonna spend this year? And it's declining, okay, right? So are we spending less or more? Well, eventually they need to buy more plastic pallets because they've lost plastic pallets, or plastic pallets have broken, which that does happen. And then over a period of years, they still don't know if they're spending less or they're spending more on plastic pallets.
Right.
So a QR sensor can tell us how many times the pallet's been used, when it was born. We can scan it when we recycle it and tell you when that pallet has its end of life. The customer can see how many trips it's taken. They can see how long it's sat in a place. They can see if the pallet is lost, they can see where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
They can actually scan the QR code. Someone can scan the QR code on the pallet, and it can, I think you call it geolocate.
Yeah.
It geolocates.
Yeah. It uses the phone's GPS, like
Right.
you use for driving,
Yeah.
right? But it uses that, but stores the location of your phone into the actual pallet.
Right.
So it turns the pallet, you can almost think of it as behind every pallet, there's like this little flash drive, this little database that is about that pallet.
Right.
Everything that's happened to that pallet from the point where you guys manufacture it. And so the first thing we're putting in there, so it's worth talking about this printing process, the way we're going to do it. We'll talk about that in a second. But every time somebody puts information into this, it's about that pallet, and it's stored in that pallet effectively, right? It's that pallet's information. From the beginning, when you manufacture it, what's it manufactured with? Material, dimensions, weight, load capacity, all the kinds of things that you would want to know about a pallet are stored in that same database, if you will, of all of these things you're talking about. Cycle counts, how many times you've used it, maybe what shipments a pallet's involved in. We're really scratching the surface
Right.
with what we can do, so it's
Right.
early right now, but it's pretty exciting. I
Yeah.
mean, and even if we just do the thing where we're helping people understand the cycles, that gives them a better ROI argument.
For sure. And that, what we're trying to do with the QR sensor is step one, prove out the ROI. We know it exists.
Right.
And we know that the cost per trip goes from $15 to $20 down to $1 or less.
Right.
Now I'm saying per trip. So if you use a $100 pallet 100 times, your cost per trip is $1.
Right.
Okay.
And what's wood, like 2 times per trip or something?
2 to 3.
Yeah.
2 to 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Now these are reusable applications, reusable systems,
Right.
where the pallet is captive in a processor's environment, in a distribution facility environment, where the pallets are being reused multiple times within this environment. Where was I going with that? However, so the real draw for me, because I've watched RFID for 25 years try to get deployed, and it never has.
Right.
Is we have the ability to print this QR sensor on our pallets as we make them, sell them to our customers. The customer does not have to buy any technology.
Right.
The customer has the ability to scan with the phone that's in their pocket, and it's immediately deployable. The infrastructure involved is nothing. There's
Right.
no infrastructure
Nope.
that's required.
No systems integration even.
Right.
So, I mean, we were talking earlier about the idea of just every week generating a report from the movement of these pallets to be able to inform you of exactly what the behavior of your pool of pallets has been.
Right.
You know, things like that.
Mhm.
I mean, can be built behind it,
Mhm.
but there's no integration required for that. No
Yes.
infrastructure required for that a customer needs to run.
Right. So when we offer this to our customers, there really is no reason to say no.
Right.
So,
I mean, this is kind of like the way we first embodied it. You know, this is just on a paper label, which has the QR sensor on it, even a 1D, one-dimensional barcode. That's a GS1 standard for representing an asset in logistics, and maybe some information about a particular, manufacturing process and things like that. But what's neat, I guess, about the printer technology that you guys got is you don't need a paper label. Can you talk about how you found that printer? Because you said you've been looking for a long time.
yeah, we've had a number of trials with a number of ways to put information on plastic pallets, and so far as to by hand rub in a heat transfer graphic, stickers, labels, placards, multiple different ways to try to put information on a plastic pallet. A lot of them take too long to apply.
Right.
Most of them are easy to remove.
Right.
Okay, so they're not permanent. So yeah, I was at a trade show here last year, and I mean, I've seen 50 different types of ways to put information on a plastic pallet. And I'm walking by this guy from Italy, and he's got this machine, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and I don't know what I'm looking at. And he starts talking to me, but I had a sense, and he starts talking to me, and I'm like, we could use that to put a QR sensor on a plastic pallet,
Right.
in real time, in a seamless amount of time.
As part of the manufacturing process.
As part of the manufacturing process. And yeah, so I just bought I bought the machine on the floor at the trade show. The guy looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "No, I really want. I'm giving you an order right now." And I came back from the trade show and I told my guys that I bought the machine, and they were like, "Huh? What are you doing?" Because they hadn't seen it yet. So we got it, and yeah, it's wonderful. So we're excited.
Well,
and it was built for the QR sensor, and
honestly,
we didn't know that.
We did not. So we came here. That's what I was saying towards the end of last year.
Right.
So I was here with Kristen, our head of sales, and we were bringing up the kinds of things we'd evolved the QR sensors to do. And you went, this is the weirdest timing, because I just bought this very expensive thing that's going to print directly onto our plastic.
Right.
And we're trying to figure out what to put on there.
Yes.
And we were like, do we have the perfect thing to put on there?
And you had not presented the QR sensor to us yet.
Not before.
You came to present it to us.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
And so when you presented it to us, I was like,
this is so weird. I know. It was serendipitous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're here now actually doing the first prints on pallets with all of this technology. So it's super exciting.
Yeah.
They literally got the printer a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And we're out there in the shop actually printing the first ones on the pallets. It's very exciting.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting sensors on our pallets so our customers can use them to learn about the lifespan of their pallets that they're buying, so that they're confident with the ROI that they're getting. I'm more excited about what our customers are going to request as they use the QR sensors, because we can create any information that they want based on what their request is.
Yeah, that's something, it's hard for people to understand, because when you think that you scan something and you get a thing every time, what's unique about what we have here is when you scan it, each customer can actually be presented with different things they can do based on even the state of the pallet or the product on the pallet or whatever. I mean, if they want to use it to track the inventory on a pallet inside of a warehouse, they could do that. I mean, the applications for this are really limitless. That we've talked about that. It's kind of hard to kind of capture everything, but we can update those after they're printed. So if you have a customer that has a couple thousand of these pallets and they have a specific idea of something they'd want to do, we can actually update it so they can do that. We can deliver an information service onto a pallet that they never thought of as even being able to do that.
And that is what I'm excited about, because we don't know what our customers go through. We don't know what information they use. We don't know what information is meaningless to them versus what's valuable to them. And they're going to be the ones who say, hey, if we had this information, this would be a really effective tool. And the way the QR sensor is set up in the background, the technology, they can have that information. All they have to do is request it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we can work together to deliver it to them.
That's cool.
Which is awesome. And in the future, it's not that having sensors as they come down in price, actual, real-time devices, couldn't supplement that. But those sensors never replace the human process, what humans are doing. And that's the thing, is when people interact with that, you're getting a sense of what the people are doing. We often forget that most of the important things in logistics are human events. They're not, it arrived at a facility, it's, okay, we're offloading it, we're storing it here. Those kinds of events are really important. Or this thing is damaged. How do we get the information back that, a particular product on a particular pallet that was delivered was damaged when it got there? Another application of a QR sensor, they can scan it, they can say this is damaged, they can upload a photo of it, goes right back to the person who shipped it, and they get this seamless flow of information through the pallet.
Right.
Yeah.
We could do all kinds of things. I mean, it's like, so damage, whether we recycle it, whether it gets shipped back out, whether it gets stored for long-term storage, temporary storage, gets quarantined for quality control, has to get washed, has to get repaired. The product on it has to get washed. The product on it has to get repaired.
All those cycles. All
what truck it went in. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So,
as we said, it's going to really be up to the customers.
Yeah.
But it'll be delivered at no cost to them because it'll be part of the manufacturing process that TranPak has for these pallets.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
And I mean, we've looked at how you can affix QR sensors to things. I mean, we did anodized aluminum plates. We have an anodizer at our office to anodize aluminum plates. It's about as much as the printer was that you had, same price.
So I imagine when you came here and started printing codes on pallets, and I mean, you didn't have to spend too much time to get the code programmed into the printer and
here?
Yeah.
No, we did it yesterday in like an hour.
And like when you came, it was like, wow, here's a solution, and we didn't even realize we had it.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, it's very, like, it's serendipitous, but it's great that it's happening now, because the world, everyone is focused on sustainability right now. Big companies are looking at these kinds of things, and logistics is a part of sustainability that people aren't really taking as seriously as they could and they should, and pallets are a big part of that.
Yeah, they are kind of what moved the world.
Right.
And the more you can reuse a plastic pallet, the more sustainable your whole supply chain is.
Absolutely.
The less impact you're making all over the place. And really that's what TranPak is promoting. So from the roots of our belief is promote reusability, promote reusable systems, and that creates the sustainability that we're going for. So.
And with our view, the information about a shipment can be as valuable as the shipment of goods itself. And by marrying those two things together, the information and that sustainable pallet that's moving the world, we can actually transform both things at the same time.
Yeah.
Both the physical part and the information part kind of being brought together through this partnership.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, good.
Thank you, Rich.
I appreciate you having me. No, it's great. It's been great. So we look forward to printing more things on your pallets.
I look forward to shipping out more pallets with your QR sensors on them.
All right. Thanks.